Well, with that, another week has flown by. So, you know what it's time for.
I know Arizona got beat yesterday, but you are biased. You are completely biased in this one.
We're into what the Red Zone Network Scott Hansen would probably refer to as the witching hour of the 2021 NFL season. For those who are hoping for more clarity with the playoff picture, too bad. Both wildcard races are a glorious mess that will probably come all the way down to the final seconds of Week 18. With only 4 weeks remaining, let's see where all 32 NFL teams find themselves in our latest edition of the Power Rankings. Number 32, Jacksonville Jaguars. Last time's ranking, 31. The Jaguars were shut out for the first time since 2009, putting up practically zero fight against the Tennessee Titans. And all that seemed to be overshadowed by the latest report on Urban Meyer's questionable coaching tactics. Jacksonville owner Shahid Khan has a knack for being overly patient, but he simply cannot make that same mistake with Meyer. This guy needs to go, and the sooner, the better. Number 31, Houston Texans. Last time's ranking, 32. Davis Mills had an admirable performance against the Seattle Seahawks, and he kept it close with Russell Wilson for 3 quarters. That effort is enough to take Houston out of the number 32 spot. It also helps that David Culley isn't calling his assistants losers.
You know, Coach used to say something that would fire us up when we were behind.
Yeah, what?
Loser! You're a loser! Are you feeling sorry for yourself?
Number 30, Detroit Lions. Last time's ranking, 29. The Lions were blown out by the Denver Broncos on Sunday, but that's nothing to complain about. They now hold sole possession of the worst record in the league, putting Dan Campbell's group one step closer to clinching the top pick of next year's draft. Number 29, New York Jets. Last time's ranking, 30. The Jets at least kept it close for most of their game against a superior New Orleans Saints team. Gotta give credit where it's due. They showed more fight than the 3 teams below them on this list. That counts for something, right? Number 28, Chicago Bears. Last time's ranking, 27. The Bears gave the Green Bay Packers a bit of a scare at Lambeau Field. That is, until the wheels came off in the third quarter. Justin Fields made some brilliant plays despite being under duress all day. But Sunday was yet another reminder that the Bears need a new GM, coaching staff, and for the sake of the Fields, please, an offensive line. Number 27, Carolina Panthers. Last time's ranking, 23. This is hard to watch. The Panthers really can't find a half-decent quarterback to work with all those talented skill position guys. That defense is keeping this team in games every single week, but Matt Rule's offense is becoming painful to watch. And that loss to the Falcons was yet another wasted opportunity for them to climb back into the NFC wildcard picture. So I guess it's on to 2022 now. Number 26, New York Giants. Last time's ranking, 26. The G-Men couldn't get much of anything going on either side of the ball in their blowout loss to the Los Angeles Chargers. Not that we're shocked or anything. At least the Giants aren't New York's worst football team this year. Although, that's clearly not saying much. Number 25, Las Vegas Raiders. Last time's ranking, 18. Oh look, another disheartening loss for a team that has collapsed in the second half of the season for the 3rd straight year. Maybe huddling on the Kansas City Chiefs logo during pregame warm-ups wasn't the best idea. Which Raiders player was responsible for orchestrating that? The coaching staff might want to have a talk with that guy. Number 24, Atlanta Falcons. Last time's ranking, 28. The Falcons rebounded with a close road win against the Panthers. And just like that, they're alive and well in the race for the NFC's final playoff spot. What a weird year. But hey, don't get too optimistic, Falcons fans. A trip to San Francisco is up next. And then they close out the season with games against the Buffalo Bills and New Orleans Saints. Number 23, New Orleans Saints. Last time's ranking, 25. Speaking of the Saints, they kept their playoff hopes alive with a win over the Jets, and now they have a chance to make a serious statement with a showdown against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. Could you imagine Sean Payton's team sweeping the defending champs with another backup quarterback? It would be a huge boost to their wildcard hopes and their confidence down the stretch. Number 22, Seattle Seahawks. Last time's ranking, 24. And just like that, Seattle is only 1 game out of the final playoff spot in the NFC. The Seahawks picked up their 2nd straight win by shellacking the Texans on Sunday afternoon. Still, Pete Carroll's group likely has to win out to have any shot of making the postseason. That's easier said than done, considering that they still have visits with the Los Angeles Rams and Arizona Cardinals on the schedule. Number 21, Pittsburgh Steelers. Last time's ranking, 15. Well, that's probably it for the Steelers. They fell just short of what would have been a historic comeback against the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday Night Football. Take a quick peek at the remaining schedule, and it's safe to say that Pittsburgh is on their way to suffering their first losing season since 2002. Unless, could Ben Roethlisberger have one last magical run in him? Number 20, Philadelphia Eagles. Last time's ranking, 21. The Eagles, sitting at 6-7, run a bye and find themselves in a hilarious 5-way tie for the final wildcard spot in the NFC. It's anyone's game at this point. Philly has 2 showdowns against the NFC East rival Washington football team. Those meetings could very well determine the number 7 seed. Buckle up! Number 19, Minnesota Vikings. Last time's ranking, 22. The Vikings aren't dead just yet. Mike Zimmer's group barely held on for a season-saving victory against Pittsburgh. And yes, they're among the 5 NFC teams with a 6-7 record. They're not done yet, but don't be surprised if that Week 13 loss to the Lions comes back to haunt them in the end. Number 18, Washington football team. Last time's ranking, 13. Washington's 4-game win streak came to an end at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys. Taylor Heineke took an absolute beating. The resurgent defense had a bad day, and Washington's playoff hopes are now in serious jeopardy. Hey, they won the NFC East with a 7-9 record last year. It might just take 8 wins to claim a wildcard spot in 2021. Number 17, Denver Broncos. Last time's ranking, 19. In an emotional and heartfelt Sunday afternoon where they honored franchise great Demaryius Thomas, the Broncos cruised past the Detroit Lions and moved back to above 500. A pivotal showdown with the Cincinnati Bengals is next. There are some serious playoff implications on the line in that one. Don't rule out the Broncos' chances of sneaking in just yet. Number 16, Miami Dolphins. Last time's ranking, 17. Not a bad week for the Dolphins, who were also on a bye. They watched the Raiders, Steelers, Bills, and Bengals all lose this week, which only helps Miami's playoff hopes. That said, Miami probably has to win out to sneak in. After hosting the Jets in Week 15, they visit the Saints and Tennessee Titans before closing out against the New England Patriots. It's hard to like their chances, but they are on a roll after losing 7 of their first 8 games this season. Number 15, Cleveland Browns. Last time's ranking, 20. The Browns managed to avoid what would have been a humiliating collapse against a Baltimore Ravens that was without Lamar Jackson for most of the contest. Kevin Stefanski's group saved their season for the time being, but there's still more work to do. They host Vegas this week before meetings with the Packers, Steelers, and Bengals. Simply put, the Browns are really gonna have to earn their way into the postseason. Number 14, Buffalo Bills. Last time's ranking, 8. The Bills were on the wrong end of some questionable officiating decisions in their heartbreaking overtime loss to the Bucs. At the same time, why did the Bills wait until the 4th quarter to show up? Imagine if they played 60 minutes of football instead of like 25. But they didn't, and that is now 2 straight gut-wrenching losses for a team that entered the season with a Super Bowl or bust mentality. Well, it's looking more like bust than Super Bowl right now, as they have already doubled their loss total from a year ago. Number 13, Cincinnati Bengals. Last time's ranking, 12. The Bengals gave that game away, plain and simple. Sloppy turnovers and horrible pass protection contributed to a heartbreaking defeat at the hands of the San Francisco 49ers in overtime. Cincy has now dropped 4 of their last 6, and their schedule only gets tougher with 4 AFC playoff hopefuls in the Broncos, Ravens, Chiefs, and Browns on tap. Good luck with that. Number 12, San Francisco 49ers. Last time's ranking, 16. The 49ers escaped with a close win in Cincinnati, and now they're in the driver's seat to claim one of the final 2 playoff spots in the NFC. They still have a couple of home games against the Falcons and Texans remaining on their schedule. Those should be easy wins for Kyle Shanahan's club, although we've seen stranger things happen in the NFL this season alone. Number 11, Baltimore Ravens. Last time's ranking, 9. The Ravens had a stranglehold on the AFC North until they dropped consecutive games. They're now just 1 game ahead of the Bengals and Browns for tops in the AFC North. And if Lamar Jackson misses time, they may not even be a shoo-in for a wildcard spot anymore. John Harbaugh's banged-up team is battle-tested, no doubt. But do they have what it takes to fight through all these injuries and claim a 4th consecutive playoff berth? That's the real question. Number 10. Indianapolis Colts, last time's ranking 14. The Colts watched plenty of chaos unfold during their bye week. Several AFC playoff hopefuls lost, while others like the Broncos, Browns, and Chargers came through with big wins. Jonathan Taylor and Carson Wentz got to recharge their batteries. Now let's see if they can go and get their first win against the Patriots since 2009. Number 9, Los Angeles Chargers, last time's ranking 11. With a big-time home win against the Giants, the Chargers look poised to end a 3-year playoff drought. Justin Herbert is balling out, and the Bolts defense has come together at the right time. Up next, the Chargers will host Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football. The winner will be in the driver's seat for the AFC West. But even if LA loses, you gotta like their playoff chances with the Texans, Broncos, and Raiders on their schedule to close out the season. Number 8, Tennessee Titans, last time's ranking 7. The Titans made easy work of Jacksonville on Sunday to snap a 2-game losing skid. They're still in position to win the AFC South. They have an outside chance at the conference top seed, and they should be getting Derrick Henry back in time for the playoffs, or maybe even sooner. Up next, Tennessee will look to put the final dagger in the Steelers' playoff hopes. Number 7. Dallas Cowboys, last time's ranking 6. The Cowboys were one of a few teams last weekend who managed to hang on after seemingly having the game on ice in the third quarter. It got dicey down the stretch, but hey, a win's a win, and the NFC East is all but locked up at this point. Unfortunately for Dallas, the other division winners just keep on winning. So the Cowboys could end up drawing the highest-seeded wildcard team, which could prove to be a tough task if it's the Rams or Cardinals. But that's all for another day. Right now, let's just sit back and admire how amazing Micah Parsons is. Never mind Defensive Rookie of the Year, this guy might be the frontrunner for Defensive Player of the Year at this point. Number 6, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, last time's ranking 5. The Buccaneers surprisingly needed overtime to put away a Buffalo team that had led by 21 points. The entertainment value is fun if you're a Bucs fan, but it's hard not to be concerned about a defense that keeps getting torched. Even with that leaky secondary though, that's still 4 straight wins and a 9-3 record for Brady's bunch. They're rolling right now. Number 5, Arizona Cardinals, last time's ranking 1. The Cardinals showed a lot of fight by nearly coming back against the Rams on Monday night, but in the end, they lost the game and the number 1 spot in our rankings. Don't get me wrong here, this team still has as good a chance as any to go all the way. They're still in that top tier of true championship contenders, but they also have a lot of things to work on. Monday was a reality check. Now, let's see how they bounce back. Number 4, Los Angeles Rams, last time's ranking 10. And on the winning side of that thrilling Monday nighter was the Rams, who are finally clicking once again after dropping 3 straight in November. People were questioning whether this team made a mistake when they signed Odell Beckham Jr. Well, not anymore. The highly scrutinized wideout now has a touchdown in 3 straight. Maybe it was Baker's fault all along? Fellow LSU alum Justin Jefferson seems to think so. Number 3, Kansas City Chiefs, last time's ranking 4. Hard to believe that the Chiefs were actually 1-2, 2-3, and 3-4 at one point, because this team suddenly looks as good as the first 3 Patrick Mahomes-led teams. Maybe even better. Winners of 6 straight, the Chiefs absolutely manhandled a reeling Raiders team. Kansas City can essentially clinch a 6th straight division title with a win over the Chargers on Thursday night. Number 2, New England Patriots, last time's ranking 2. And with the Bills falling to Tampa Bay, the Patriots look to have another AFC East title in the bag. So much for a changing of the guard in the AFC East, huh? The Patriots enjoyed a well-deserved rest during their bye week. Hopefully it doesn't ruin their momentum though. They enter the break as the NFL's hottest team with a 7-game win streak intact. They'll look to make it 8 in a row at Indy on Saturday. Number 1, Green Bay Packers, last time's ranking 3. When you watch a game like Sunday nights between the Packers and Bears, you cannot help but wonder why on earth Aaron Rodgers would want to leave Green Bay. This team has Super Bowl written all over them. What kind of quarterback wouldn't want to be a part of that? With key players set to return from injury soon, you can easily argue that Green Bay is the team to beat, not just in the NFC, but in the entire NFL right now. Also, congrats to Rodgers on finding his long-lost twin at Lambeau Field on Sunday. But who do you think is the NFL's top team heading into Week 15? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.